Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
This is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have Michael Ferrero from Cape Cod, and he is the president of the New England Mosaic Society. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Michael, you're from, you came in from Barnstable.
Barnstable.
How is the bridge? I hear the Sagamore is one way right now.
It's one way, yeah. They have a lot of traffic and construction, so.
They're constructing the bridge while you're going over it.
Right.
I remember even as a child, we used to come in from Wilbraham in Springfield, and we had a game like who could see the bridge first.
Yep.
I don't know, for some years after that, we went over the Bourne Bridge, but we usually went over the Sagamore. We lived for a while. We had a family cottage in Dennisport. And then in South Yarmouth, I lived with my parents there too. It's nice.
It is
If
nice.
you're young, like when I was single back then, you had better make your friends during the summer and make sure somebody's going to stick around, because it was like off season.
Yeah.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
It's great for our seniors, but it was not good if you were a kid in your 20s. And I was like, where is everybody?
Yeah, that's.
So, Michael, did you found the New England Mosaic Society?
I did not find it, no. It was founded by a group of mosaic artists in 2015, and they were actually at a conference, a mosaic conference. And there's a Mosaic Society in Philadelphia. There's a few throughout the country.
Yeah.
And some mosaic artists from the New England area decided that they would. They were kind of talking and decided that they should create something for New England.
When did it start?
It started in 2015.
Oh, that's not that long
No,
ago.
it's a very young organization, and over the past 2.5 years, we're now up to over 150 members. So we've grown pretty quickly.
From throughout New England.
All from New England.
Paul, can you zero in on this? Can you describe this to the viewers? It is beautiful. What is that made of, besides the mosaics?
So all of our, when you talk to a lot of our artists, we all use different materials. I use a lot of stained glass. This is different than what I usually make. This is made out of mirror, some gold mirror, and there's a material in here called smalti. It's an Italian glass, which is some here, but it's an Italian glass that the colors really vary quite a bit, so you can do a lot with it.
This is Italian glass, and this, well, you could have a lot of fun with this. How do you glue them on?
It depends on what you're working with, but you would be using a different adhesive. So it depends on what you're putting the material onto. Whether it's going to be inside, outside, it all depends on where it's going to be or what you're making.
It's sharp, too.
It is
Look out
sharp.
for those corners. How long did it take to make that?
This piece was actually, I did pretty quickly. It's all made out of scraps. All this wood is driftwood from pieces that I had collected on Cape, and it's all made out of different just scraps that I had. So I literally just put that together pretty quickly.
You can hang it either way, too.
This can hang, yeah, either way.
I love it because it'd be perfect dining room, living room. It brings up all the different colors so that anybody's color scheme, they're fine. Whatever it is, you're all set. And how long? No, that didn't take you that long to make that one. What are these other pieces that you've brought, Michael? What are those up there, those big squares?
These are
beautiful.
just samples that I use. Of all the glass that I
Hold them up so that the viewers can
I'll
see.
use a whatever project I'm working on. If I have a new piece of glass, I'll take off the corner of it. That way I have a sample of it for future use. And these are just examples that I would bring to a client. If I were going to do a commission, I would just kind of bring them all my color samples so we can talk about the colors and they can choose exactly which color they
When you
want.
say commission, people get in touch with you and say, I'd like a design for my home.
Yep.
And well, what would they say to you? Would I like this color and that? And
So the commission process, and it's different for every artist you work with, but for me, you contact me either through my email or on my website, and you just kind of give me a description of the project and what you're thinking, and then we get together and talk, and
Yeah.
we've designed something together. And
from all
I
over
start
New
working.
England, right? Where's the farthest you'll go?
I mean, I usually am staying local in Massachusetts, but I mean, if there was a client further away, then
Yeah.
I work on my projects in my studio, and then once they're finished, I bring them to the
To the client.
To the client.
These are beautiful pieces of glass. I don't think I've ever seen loose pieces like this.
Oh, really?
This is, and they even have names: spectrum, pale, blue, white. They have all these. You must have a whole smorgasbord at home.
Yeah, in my studio, I have an entire rack system of all the different sheets of glass,
What
and these
you-
are just corners of them.
They're
but
beautiful. Look
they
at
come in
the
sheets.
Look at the gold. Look at this. Somebody could order anything. Could you put gold? The one you made over there has gold in it, right?
It does, yeah.
Love it. Absolutely. What made you get interested in this?
Actually, I've always had an interest in art.
Mm.
I have a lot of family members who are artists. My grandmother's a painter, my uncle's a painter and a fashion designer, and so I kind of have always been in around the arts, and being on Cape Cod, it's a large art
Oh, yeah.
community. But actually, in college, I had to take a art elective,
Mm.
and I ended up taking mosaics, and that was it.
That was
Fell
it.
in love with it.
Where'd you go to school?
I ended up going to Suffolk University in Boston, but I actually took this mosaic course at Cape Cod Community College from an artist, Jim Bowen. He's still on Cape. He's very
So the
very
Cape
well-known.
Cod Community College is still going strong.
Still going strong.
Wow, that is amazing. So even as a kid, you had no idea that you were going to like this.
No, this was a very big surprise.
Now, what do you? Is this all? Is this what you do? Is this your job, or do you have another job besides it?
No, I'm actually a 7th grade history teacher, so I do that, and then this is my off time.
Do you ever do anything with the kids with this thing?
I have, yeah. A few years ago, I worked with a special education group, and we created a 2-foot by 2-foot mosaic together, and they did an amazing job.
I would think perfect. You're a history teacher. What made you go into history to major into that?
Yeah, I just always had a
Yeah.
love for history, and,
Yeah.
and that's where I knew
And
I
that
wanted
was
to be
it?
a teacher, and so I went down that path.
So we're talking with Michael Ferrero, and he's the president of the New England Mosaic Society. Where is it based?
So we're not actually based out of a certain location. We don't have like a hub or an offices or anything. But we're a group from all over New England. The majority of our members are from Massachusetts. We have a handful in Vermont. Our membership throughout Maine is increasing.
Mhm.
We have a lot in Connecticut, Rhode Island. We actually just got 2 or 3 members who joined from Canada,
Oh, there you go.
because they said that they don't have anything like this near them.
Yeah.
But they come to the New England area quite a bit, so we have a few from Canada who've joined us. So
Different ages?
all different ages. So it's a fun group.
Do you ever have presentations, displays at fairs, that type of thing?
We don't as a organization. Sometimes our members will do their own things, but we just had a large exhibit of our members' work in Somerville at the Somerville Museum,
Yeah.
which was very successful.
Yeah. That must have been when I saw the advertisement for what you do. I think they had it in one of the Sunday papers talking about the event coming up.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was a great event. Actually, there's the Society of American Mosaic Artists. It's an organization. It's like our organization, but on a much larger scale throughout
Yeah.
the entire country. And every year they have a conference, and they choose a different location to have that conference. And this year's was in Boston,
Yeah.
which was great for us as the New England Mosaic Society.
You could display.
Because we were able to. A lot of our members were able to go, and
Yeah.
it's a week-long conference. So there were many art exhibits, mosaic exhibits throughout Boston.
Did you bring that fantastic one with the driftwood?
This was in the Somerville show. The Somerville show was just our members.
Yeah.
There was about, I want to say there was maybe 70 pieces in the exhibit.
I can see that hanging in the family cottage in Dennisport. It's just perfect. I mean, it's got
Thank
every
you.
color but they all go together. It's not a mishmash. It's like, I can't explain it. It goes together.
Thank you.
What are you working on now?
Actually, I'm working on a few pieces. I have some of my artwork is in a store on Cape Cod, so I'm finishing up some pieces to stock the store with.
I'll get you out this way.
Yeah,
Come
there
on.
we go.
Come on.
I'm working on a very large commission work for a client. They're from the Boston area, and they have a home on Cape, so it'll be an installation in their home. And then I have another commission for a family friend of mine, actually, to do a portrait.
How do they hear about you?
So a lot of it is word of mouth, which is interesting. The client who's from the Boston area, I had a solo exhibit at the Cultural Center on Cape Cod
There you go. Yeah.
last summer, and it was a really successful show,
Yeah.
and I made a lot of pieces for that show.
Sure.
And so they came and they saw my work there.
Did you sell a lot?
I sold a good amount, which was great.
Yeah.
But they met me during that show,
Yeah.
and then they just got in touch
They
with me about a
commissioned.
month ago, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Michael, how can people get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me at my website, www.mjfmosaics.com, or if you want more information about the New England Mosaic Society, we're at www.newenglandmosaicsociety.org.
Michael, do the pieces come this way, or do you have to cut them this way?
They come in large sheets,
Yeah.
and then you cut them to whatever you want them to be.
So this can hurt. I mean, if you got your fingers in the wrong area there, ouch. So you must have a special cutter,
I do.
and then it must be a blast to do that. I mean, I'm an abstract artist, and to me, that's a lot of fun. Even if somebody commissions you, do you have to keep a straight? I mean, you have to keep a very serious type of it, or can you really go out with
It
it?
depends on the client.
If they're
Yeah,
yeah.
Some clients like to, what they want is what they want,
Yeah.
and they're very strict as to what their design idea is.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes as an artist to try and understand what your client has in their mind and what
Yeah.
you have in your mind, and
Definitely.
you kind of have to hope that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun to work with clients who kind of allow you to do your thing.
How about lawyers' offices, corporate offices, this type of thing, lobbies?
Mhm.
Have you ever had that?
I personally haven't. A lot of our artists in our organization have done work for hospitals.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's definitely
I can see this over at UMass Medical, over in
Mhm.
Worcester. They are pretty open to funky, interesting art. The
Interesting.
main corridor, I can see it right now. I pick up on a lot of people, if they're not artsy, they're not going to understand it, but they have some pretty interesting things over there. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, huh,
Interesting.
yeah. Also, right up the street at Milford Regional Medical Center, they have a brand new ER. And boy, if you ever tour that, I don't know if you could tour it now. We did when it was brand new, but boy, they had some pretty cool art in there.
Hmm.
So hospitals,
Yeah,
this is
hospitals
cheerful
big.
stuff, and that's what you want
Right.
in the hospital. So there's another idea for you. Do you have any shows coming up for people?
I personally do not have any shows. We just ended our Somerville show, just came to an end.
Mhm.
A lot of the work that was in our Somerville show, it has been moved over to a library in Shrewsbury. So some of our work will be there, some of the members' work will be there. But it depends on the artist. Some of our members, they don't do a lot of solo shows, or they put into other shows, or some people don't show at all.
Yeah.
So it depends. It's personal.
Shrewsbury, hey, it's not brand new, but it's pretty new still. I mean, the library over there, that is huge.
Mm.
So you're showing some of your work there?
I don't have any of my work there.
Yeah.
This is the piece that was in the Somerville exhibit.
That was there.
So
Paul, can you show that again? The one beside him? I'm just fascinated by it. Those are tile pieces in driftwood. How long did it take you to decide to do that one?
Well, this is, I was doing a solo exhibit on Cape, and I ended up not having enough work to fill up the walls.
Yeah.
And last minute, I decided to throw this together.
That's
really.
a winner. I mean,
And
yeah.
a lot of people who came to the show said that they really liked it, and a friend of mine, she suggested that I enter it into our Somerville show.
Oh,
And it
definitely.
won an award for artistic distinction.
And you
which
can,
was
you can hang it
surprising.
any way, right?
You can.
put it horizontal, vertical.
Yeah.
I think in my home I would put it horizontal.
I have it horizontal, yeah. I like it horizontal.
Just out of curiosity, how much would that cost if somebody wanted something like that?
This mosaic is about $1,800.
Mhm.
But for me, it depends on the size,
The
the
size of it.
material, and all of our artists in the New England Mosaic Society, they have their own prices and scale that they.
And
they
most
charge
of them
that
are in
for.
Massachusetts and like Rhode Island and Connecticut.
The majority of our members are in Massachusetts, but they're all over New England.
If they want to do this and they haven't done it before, what would you advise people if they want to get into this?
Try it. It's fun.
should they go to Michael's, give them a plug, or AC Moore? Do they sell little pieces like this?
They do, but they sell them in a little bag of a mix, and it's not.
Not as cool.
It's you won't get the
So where do you
same
get 'em?
feeling. You can buy a lot of glass and supplies online. I know there used to be a few stores on Cape that sold stained glass. The closest one to me is now in Rockland, Massachusetts.
I know it well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whittemore Durkin. So I tend to go there quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that's where I get my glass. And like I said, it comes in huge sheets, and you cut it as you want it.
Do you have, obviously you have to have a special type of, I don't say saw, or what do you have?
I have it. Would you like to see it?
Oh, we brought a bunch of stuff. We have these, yeah. I was wondering what you would cut it with. Like, I'm picturing not a drill, but some sort of a, oh, you even got the pliers there. A little gadget. We're talking Mike Ferrara, and he is president of the New England Mosaic Society. He's going to show us how this works. Go for it, Mike.
Can I do it right on
Hold
here?
it. Yeah, show us so that, zero in on this, Paul, see if we can get this.
So you would take your glass, and if you want to do a straight line, you take, and then wherever your line is,
Yeah.
you take your other tool, and it snaps right in half.
And that does it.
And that's
Did you
it.
see, did you catch that, Paul? He just did, and then look
And
at
then
that.
depending on how you want it cut, you would use your nippers and just cut it into whatever shapes you wanted.
Can you make a triangle out of that? Or? Look at that. Hold that up. He just did that. And this.
So you just kind of cut it as you need it.
Are those expensive, the cutters?
These cutters are about $25, but these ones are, you can get, there's cutters that range up to over $100.
So that's all you need. All you did was put it on the side and the whole thing came apart.
Mm-hmm.
How does it, I would say, know enough to the whole thing to come apart?
Yeah, it just keeps running right through the
Oh,
glass.
you did the line first. What a fun thing to do. Do you like to do it on a certain kind of board when you make these designs, when you glue them down?
Yeah, it depends on what you're going to be doing with the mosaic, if it's going to be inside or outside.
Yeah.
It depends on what type of materials and boards you
Let's say
use.
somebody wants it for their dining room. What would you use?
I've used MDF board before. It depends on the size of the mosaic. Sometimes MDF can warp, so you have to be careful of that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it on wood, just because wood can kind of fluctuate
It's
with the
stuff that
weather.
people do a lot. God, it's not steel. It's a heavy duty material, like a board, and then you can glue things onto. I cannot think of it for the life of me. It's I can see it, but it's not wood. It's like a stone.
Oh, almost like a cement board.
Yeah, exactly.
You can put it onto a cement board if you're going to do a installation like in a bathroom. That's what I would put it on.
You know, I could. Why didn't I think of this? Bathroom. What a fantastic idea.
I did an installation in somebody's bathroom. She wanted it to be almost like a beach sunset theme. So we had a sunset theme that wrapped around her entire shower. It was really neat.
You know, when you see that show Fixer Upper and the other ones, and you see how they do their, boy, you have your own show, how you redo the whole bathroom and have the artwork. Have you ever connected with people like this? I mean, you're a shoo-in.
I have not, but
There's another
there we
idea.
are.
oh my gosh, yeah. If you have a bathroom, and you want him to, Michael, to decor your bathroom with tiles. Are these the same type of? They're not the same type of tiles that we see the usual bathroom.
No, that's usually like a ceramic or a porcelain tile.
So how would you? What's the difference between gluing this into place and cementing this versus?
There wouldn't be any difference. The nice thing about working with stained glass is that you can cut it into so many different shapes.
Yeah.
Whereas working with a porcelain or a ceramic, it doesn't really.
Yeah.
You can't make very specific cuts like you can with a glass.
Yeah, you go to a home store and it's already square, right? And would those even work on that? Your cutters? There?
You could. There's a different type of cutter that you could use, and I brought just a piece of broken china. A lot of people.
I know. I have a friend who takes china and she just smashes it.
A lot of people
crazy.
use a lot of different materials
Oh, look at
for
that.
mosaics. So this is just a piece of broken china.
Yeah.
I don't use a lot of broken china, but a lot of people do, and you use a different tool for it, and it just cuts right across like that. So
I
it's a
think I
lot.
like what you use better. It looks easier.
It's a lot harder to use, and for me, broken china, I like stained glass because there's a lot more color variation,
Yeah.
and you can have a lot more detail. A lot of
If
people
somebody
use broken
wanted to
china.
get into this, which is the least expensive way to start out? Probably with a broken glass, right?
Glass can, the price of it can range. I would stay away from the smalty if you're just starting. Smalty is, it's expensive.
Do they
and
charge per bead, Michael? or-
They charge per pound for smalty. Stained glass is relatively inexpensive. Broken china, you can always get plates or dishes at a thrift store or something, and that can be a cheap way to start.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're really interested in starting, the New England Mosaic Society has a lot of members who do classes.
Do you do classes?
I don't do classes, but we have a lot of members who do. A lot of beginner and intro classes into mosaics.
So besides this, do you have any other jobs outside?
Other than this, just teaching.
This is it.
Yeah.
This you teach it too, right?
I don't teach this. No, I don't do classes for this.
This is amazing. How can they reach you, Mike?
You can visit my website at www.mjfmosaics.com, or if you want information about the New England Mosaic Society, you can go to www.newenglandmosaicsociety.com.
Somebody wanted to join. Would they get in touch with you or the Mosaic Society?
You can get in touch with the Mosaic Society. There's on our website a lot of information about memberships. And we're constantly growing. I think in the past maybe 2 months we have had another 8 people join
Wow.
the organization. So we're growing quickly.
You're growing. Paul's pointing to something. What are we looking at? What is is it on the floor? A piece of it?
Oh, this one here?
What's that? Oh yeah, that's the octopus. We have to get the octopus. How long did it take you to make that, Mike?
The octopus, these are, I can do these relatively quickly. I was having an exhibit last summer, and these are very popular on Cape.
Oh, yeah.
So
Did you get that, Paul? Okay.
So I do a lot of the octopus or whales.
That's on wood though too, isn't it?
It's on an MDF board.
Or an MDF board.
But it's framed with a wood. It's a driftwood from Cape Cod.
Where do people get MDF boards? It's like an art place?
You can get MDF at Home Depot or a Lowe's or something like that.
It's a solid type of thing.
Yeah.
Is it expensive?
No, it's fairly inexpensive.
Just ask for MDF.
Yep.
And of course on the Cape with the octopus and everything, how many of those do you do?
Yeah, these sell pretty well. I think for my last exhibit, I think I made about 20 of them, and most of them are gone. That was last summer. So
You must have a lot of fun with those exhibits because right away people are going to go right over there and they're going to see what fits. What else do you do for the Cape besides the octopus?
I do octopus. I've done a lot of whales. I've done a lot of like the silhouette of the Cape.
Yeah.
Just because they sell on Cape.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
do a lot of other work. I've done a lot of portraits. I did a large portrait of Frida Kahlo. I did a portrait of Andy Warhol. I like to do a lot more kind of abstract-y,
Yeah.
modern things.
If you didn't have an order and you sat down to do, this was just for you, alone, Michael alone, and you said, I'm going to be abstract and fun, how would you go about it? What colors are your favorites?
I like to use a lot of blues and greens. I actually have my work right now up at one of the high schools on Cape. They asked me to be a visiting artist there, so I have an exhibit. And I was talking to the students, and they came across something in my work that I'd never seen before, and almost everything that was on the wall had mirror in it,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting. So I tend to use a lot of mirror.
You
but
use the mirror.
I use a lot
And
of
you
mirror.
decorate around the mirror part.
I just use mirror in the mosaic itself.
So you actually take a mirror,
Mm-hmm.
but then you make it so you can see through the mirror a little bit. You leave spaces, right?
Just like this mosaic here, I just incorporate the mirror right onto the board. So for example, my portrait of Andy Warhol, in the background there's just flecks of mirror. I did a flag of the United States, and the white stripes are actually mirror, and then the stars are made out of mirror as well.
You can take this anywhere. Michael.
There's a lot of possibilities.
Oh, definitely. Are you glad you got into it?
I'm very happy I got into it. It was a surprise that
Yeah.
it was kind of something I didn't know I had an interest in.
Yeah.
And then I've been doing this for about 8 years, and last year I was contacted to become the president of the New England Mosaic Society, which is something I never anticipated.
It started
happening,
in,
so.
what, 215 or 216?
2015, they started.
So the president then connected with you and said, would you take over?
Yeah, she contacted me. Somebody else in the organization contacted me asking if I had an interest, and I kind of scoped it out for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And learned more about the organization, and I spoke with the current president of the society, and so I decided to go for it.
So Michael, before we leave, are you going to be appearing anywhere locally or?
I'm right now. I'm not. I am busy teaching, so
Okay.
I am doing a lot of commission work on the side. I do a lot of my exhibits during the summer. So right now I have nothing planned, but you never know.
Okay, so on your website, do you keep an event schedule?
I do on my website.
Before we
I
go,
have,
let them know again how they can watch that.
so I'll have my event schedule on my website, which is www.mgfmosaics.com, or the event schedule of the New England Mosaic Society. They have a lot of events. We do a lot of talks and tours, workshops, and that information's on their website as well.
You know, if you have a company out there, you are lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, and you want your lobby to look, top notch, get in touch with Michael. This is beautiful stuff. Also hospitals, we talked about
Hospitals.
that. I think even senior center lobbies, halls,
Schools.
definitely, they're bringing things up more. Hospice centers.
Mhm.
This is happy art. There's no doubt about it.
It is. It's fun.
Yeah. Michael, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
I learned an awful lot that I didn't know about working with mosaics. We'll see you next time and be my guest.